The sun was starting to dip lower over the hedges, and I knew I should have gotten out by now. My friend had left almost an hour ago. Something about picking up groceries and checking in on his girlfriend. Back in 30, he'd said. 30 had passed, then 40. But the pool was warm, and the silence was addicting. That kind of quiet you only get in the suburbs when the sprinklers stop ticking and the birds settle. I floated on my back, eyes half closed, pretending I wasn't overstaying my welcome. I told myself I'd leave after just one more lap. One more. Then I heard it, a soft click of sandals on stone. I stopped mid-stroke, blinking through the water as I turned my head. And there she was, Sabrina, my friend's stepmom. She stood a few feet away from the edge, dressed in a white satin robe that looked like it barely belonged outside the bedroom. One hand held a sweating glass of something cold, the ice clinking gently as she tilted it. "Mind if I slip in too?" she said. I must have looked stunned because she laughed. A low, amused sound that carried over the still surface of the pool. "I'm kidding," she added, though her eyes didn't exactly match her tone. "You looked like you were enjoying it." I didn't want to interrupt. She walked closer and sat at the edge, dipping her feet into the water beside me. There was plenty of space along the pool's edge, but she chose right next to me. Her robe shifted slightly as she settled, opening just enough to make me look away. And of course, she noticed. "You've been working out," she said, swirling her drink. "You didn't look like this last summer." I muttered something about the gym, summer goals, swimming more. She smiled and nodded, eyes scanning my shoulders like she was analyzing a painting or a dessert. "You can't tell Jason you stayed," she said suddenly, her voice playful, but the meaning wasn't. I looked up at her. "What?" She raised her eyebrows, amused. "Let's make it our little secret. You left after he did." "Got it." My phone buzzed on the chair nearby. I glanced toward it. Jason's name lit up on the screen. "Don't answer," she said, tapping the rim of her glass. "Let him wonder where you went." And then the sound. The gate. A metal clink. Someone was fiddling with the latch. I froze. She did too, but only for a second. Sabrina placed her drink down, leaned closer, and whispered, "Stay still." My heart was hammering in my chest. I looked toward the gate, waiting for someone to appear. Jason? His dad? A neighbor? But it stopped. Just the wind, or a false alarm. Still, it was enough to jolt me back to reality. I started, but she touched my arm light, barely a gesture, and it stopped me mid-sentence. Her eyes locked on mine. "If anyone asks," she said slowly, deliberately, "you left a long time ago. Understand?" I nodded, even as she stood and slipped off the robe, stepping into the water with a grace that didn't match the danger we were dancing with. I didn't move, even when the gate rattled again. I stayed. I didn't sleep much that night, even after I left her house. After drying off, pretending nothing strange had happened, pretending I hadn't just watched my friend's stepmom glide into the pool like a secret meant only for me, I kept replaying it in my head. Her voice, her robe floating behind her like mist, her finger on my arm when she said, "You left a long time ago." I didn't know what she meant, or maybe I did and I didn't want to admit it. Jason texted later, "Just a casual everything good?" I answered with something neutral, "All chill, see you tomorrow." He never suspected anything. The next day, I didn't plan to go back. But by 5 p.m., I found myself walking down their street again. I had a line rehearsed in my head in case Jason asked, "Just forgot my charger." But he wasn't even home. His car wasn't in the driveway, only hers. The side door was unlocked. I knocked anyway. The same scent hit me immediately. Orange peel, something faintly floral. Her perfume. She was in the kitchen, barefoot, wearing a soft gray t-shirt and loose pajama pants that somehow made her look even more dangerous than the robe. "Oh," she said, turning to see me. "You came." I hesitated. "You told me not to." She smiled. "I did. And you listened. Just not all the way." She handed me a glass of cold lemonade. No robe this time. No pool. Just the hum of the fridge, the soft clinking of ice. We talked about nothing for a while, music, random movies, but there was something new in the air, like we were both carefully tiptoeing around the memory of yesterday. She moved through the kitchen slowly, deliberately, every gesture just slightly exaggerated. Bending to grab something from the lower cupboard, reaching overhead for glasses. I noticed a thin gold bracelet on her wrist, one I hadn't seen before. Simple, delicate, but not flashy. "You always wear that?" I asked. She looked down. "No, not always." I waited. "It was a gift, but I wear it when I want to remember something or forget something else." She ran her fingers over the charm. A small letter engraved into the metal. I couldn't see which one. Felt like a symbol of what I didn't know yet. At some point, the atmosphere shifted. She moved closer, stood across from me by the marble island. The silence between us stretched, not awkward, but full, thick with something unnamed. Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it. The screen lit up with her husband's name. She didn't answer. The phone kept buzzing. Once, twice, a third time, then stopped. "I don't like silence," she said softly, not looking at me. "But lately I've started craving it." Outside, footsteps approached on the gravel. My chest tightened, but it was just a jogger passing by the house. Still, I stepped away from the window. She noticed. "You're jumpy." "You're not." She looked at me for a long second, then said, "You shouldn't be here." "Then why did you leave the door unlocked?" That made her pause. "I don't know," she whispered. "Maybe I wanted to see what you'd do." We were close now. Too close. She reached out and tucked something behind my ear. A drop of water on my temple I hadn't noticed. Her fingers lingered just a second too long. The bracelet shifted as she moved, catching a glint of sunlight. Gold. Warm. Dangerous. I leaned in. So did she. For half a breath, the space between us vanished. Just enough for her eyes to widen, for my heart to jump, for the air to feel electric. And then footsteps. Inside the house. Heavy. Fast. We both froze. Jason's voice. "Mom!" We backed away like we'd touched fire. She grabbed a dishcloth, turned to the sink, started rinsing glasses like nothing had happened. I slipped toward the hallway, pulse hammering, mouth dry. Jason appeared in the doorway a second later. "Oh, hey," he said. "Didn't know you were here." I forced a smile. "Yeah, just came by to grab my charger." He nodded. "Cool. You hungry?" Before I could answer, Sabrina cut in. "He was just leaving." I looked at her. She didn't blink. Jason shrugged. "All right, let me grab my stuff." As he walked off, I turned to follow. Sabrina caught my wrist for half a second, barely touching me. Then she leaned in and whispered, "Tomorrow, after lunch. Pool's warm again." I got there earlier than she said. The plan, if you could call it that, was after lunch. But I showed up at 12:45, heart hammering like I was sneaking into enemy territory. The backyard was quiet, pool glistening, a towel draped neatly over one of the chairs. No sign of her yet. I sat down, checking my phone even though I knew she wouldn't text. That wasn't her style. Everything with Sabrina was implied, unspoken, dangerous. When the sliding glass door opened behind me, I didn't have to look. I knew it was her. She wore a black one-piece this time. Elegant, understated, with her hair up and sunglasses perched in her hand. "Told you the pool was warm," she said, stepping barefoot across the stone tiles. "I came early," I admitted. "I noticed." She walked right past me and dove in with barely a splash. When she resurfaced, her hair slicked back, she smiled like it was nothing, like the past 2 days hadn't been rewiring my entire nervous system. She swam slow, lazy circles while I sat at the edge, feet in the water. "You always listen that well?" she asked after a while. "Only to certain people." Her smile didn't falter, but something in her eyes shifted. We didn't touch. Not yet. But the air felt full again, like it had that day in the kitchen, right before Jason walked in. A silence not of peace, but of friction. Like we were waiting for something to break. And then it nearly did. The side gate slammed open. She went still. I scrambled to my feet. Someone had just come into the yard. I ducked low behind the hedge near the outdoor shower. Sabrina didn't move from the water. "Hey?" a voice called out. "Jason. Thought I left my hat," he added, stepping into full view. I pressed myself lower, heart pounding. Sabrina waved casually from the pool. "I haven't seen it," she said. Jason paused, looked around. His eyes scanned the pool deck, the chairs, almost the spot where I'd been sitting 2 minutes ago. And then, to my horror, he walked over to that chair, to the towel I left behind. He picked it up. Wet. He frowned. "You swim already?" She tilted her head. "A little. Thought I heard voices," he said. Sabrina smiled. "Maybe the neighbor's TV." Jason didn't look convinced. He walked a slow circle around the yard, eyes narrowing. I didn't breathe. Finally, after what felt like hours, he shrugged. "Must have left it in the car." She didn't say anything. He started back toward the gate. Halfway there, he turned and called, "Hey, was someone here?" "Just me," she said. "You can check if you want." He hesitated, then pushed the gate open and left. I didn't move for a full minute. When I finally stepped out from behind the hedge, I expected her to yell, or laugh, or say, "I told you not to come early." Instead, she swam to the edge, rested her arms on the ledge, and looked up at me. "You didn't leave," she said. "No. You should have." "I know." We stared at each other. "You could have gotten caught." "I didn't." She reached for her towel, dried her arms, then walked past me toward the chairs. She picked up something, her gold bracelet, the one from the kitchen. She hadn't worn it into the pool. "Do you know what this is?" she asked, holding it up. "You said it was a gift." She nodded. "From someone who knew exactly how to keep a secret." She slipped it onto her wrist, but this time it wasn't just an accessory. It was a message. She walked past me again, not smiling, not joking. And then, just before going inside, she turned. "I leave the back door unlocked," she said. Then, quieter, "for people who don't knock." I stood in the yard alone for a while, heart still thudding from the close call. On the chair beside mine was my old towel, the one Jason had touched, and on top of it, a small piece of paper, folded in half. I picked it up. Her handwriting, small, sharp, confident. "Upstairs. Tomorrow. 3:15. Don't be early this time." I skipped class for her. Just one. But it mattered. It was a final review session, mandatory attendance. I turned off my phone, lied to my roommate, said I was going to the library, then got on the train out to Jason's place again. The bracelet she wore in the kitchen kept flashing in my head. That silent symbol, that unspoken challenge. I leave the back door unlocked, for people who don't knock. So I didn't. It was quiet when I slipped in. I could hear the low hum of music upstairs. Classical, something slow and sad. I climbed the back staircase, heart pounding. Every step felt like I was crossing into another version of myself. The kind that didn't care about consequences, about friendships, about rules. Her door was cracked open. She was standing by the window, hair down, robe cinched tight, but she didn't turn when I entered. "You came," she said softly. "You left a note," I replied. "I didn't think you'd use it. I wasn't going to." Pause. "But I did." She turned then, and for a second, she looked different. Not seductive, not dangerous, just tired. "I wasn't always like this," she said. "Like what?" She walked past me, brushing my shoulder. "Lonely, stupid, selfish." I didn't say anything. She sat on the edge of the bed, staring at her hands. "You know he's barely here anymore," she said. "Your friend. Always out. Always somewhere else." I nodded. "My husband? Always working. Always finding reasons not to come home." She laughed, but it didn't sound amused. "I used to matter to them. Now I'm just background noise." Her voice dropped. "But you looked at me like I was still in focus." I sat beside her, close but not touching. She held up the bracelet, the same delicate gold chain. "This was from someone who saw me, a long time ago, before I made all the wrong choices." She slid it off, held it in her palm like something fragile. "I should have thrown it out." "Then why didn't you?" She met my eyes. No smile this time, just raw honesty. "Because I wanted to remember what it felt like before I became this." I didn't know what to say, so I didn't say anything. Instead, I reached for her hand. Not for her body, just her hand. And she let me. Then the sound that broke everything. Jason's voice downstairs. "Mom? You home?" Her hand jerked from mine. Panic shot through me. "He wasn't supposed to be back," she whispered, already crossing the room. She shut the door but didn't lock it. Her mind was racing. I stood frozen. "Closet," she hissed. "What? Now?" I slipped inside just as the footsteps hit the stairs. The closet was dark, hot, cramped. I could hear her breathing on the other side of the door. "Mom!" Jason knocked. "Yeah?" she called back, tone suddenly casual. "Your car's out front. I didn't know you were home. Just came back from errands." "What's up?" "I left my gym bag upstairs. You mind?" Silence. Then, "Go ahead." His footsteps came closer. I held my breath as the door opened. His shadow crossed the room. I heard the zipper, the shift of fabric. A pause. "Did someone come over?" he asked. My blood turned to ice. "No," she said too quickly. Jason was silent for a beat. Then, quietly, thought I heard a second voice. Another silence. Tighter. Harder. "I was on the phone," she lied. "Bluetooth, right?" His voice didn't sound convinced. And then, finally, footsteps again. Down the stairs. Out the front door. 10 minutes passed before she opened the closet. We didn't speak. I stepped out. We just stared at each other in the dim light of her room. "I should go," I said. "You should. But I don't want to." She nodded slowly. "I know." Outside, I heard a car engine start. Jason pulling away again. I looked down at the bracelet on her dresser. Still there. This time I picked it up. "I think it's yours," I said. She looked at me, then stepped forward and closed my fingers around it. "No," she whispered. "It's yours now." As I walked toward the stairs, she followed. At the bottom, she paused. "He's getting suspicious." "Yeah. I don't think we should see each other again." I nodded. Then she added, almost in a breath, "Unless it's Thursday, around 5. I go for a walk then, behind the tennis courts." No one's ever back there. I turned to look at her, and she smiled, the smallest, most dangerous smile I'd seen yet. It rained on Thursday. Not a thunderstorm, just a slow, steady drizzle that blurred the edges of everything. The kind of rain that quiets the world. I almost didn't go. The path behind the tennis courts was muddy, slick with wet leaves. I kept checking behind me as I walked. No one was around. Just the sound of distant water hitting the clay courts. She was already there. Black coat, umbrella, hair tied back. No smile this time. Just eyes that said this is a mistake and a voice that didn't match. "You came," she said. "You asked me to." She nodded, then looked down at the ground like she was waiting for it to open up and swallow her. "I wasn't sure if you would," she added. "I wasn't sure either." There wasn't a long build-up. She stepped under the umbrella beside me, close but not touching. We walked in silence, our shoes sinking slightly into the earth. After a while, she asked, "Do you regret it?" "Yes," I said. "And no." "Same." We stopped by the edge of a small clearing. There was a wooden bench there, damp from the rain. She didn't sit, just turned to face me. "I don't think we can keep doing this," she said. "I know." She hesitated. "But I don't think I can stop either." The kiss was quiet, not rushed, not dramatic, just real. And that made it worse, because we both knew what it meant, and what it didn't. Later, she took the bracelet from her pocket. "You should give it back," I said. She looked at it, then at me. "No," she said. "You keep it. That way at least one of us remembers what this really was." "What was it?" She smiled faintly. "A mistake that felt like the opposite." We parted near the old fence, where the trees leaned together like they were hiding something. She didn't look back. Neither did I. 1 week later, I was packing to move out of my dorm when Jason called. He sounded normal, casual. "Hey," he said. "I found your notebook in our guest room. Must have left it last time you stayed." I hadn't stayed there in over 2 weeks. "You want me to bring it to campus?" "No," I said quickly. "Just toss it." "You sure?" "Yeah." He paused. "Also, weird question," he added. "Did you ever talk to my mom alone?" My heart stopped. "What?" "She mentioned something about seeing you in the yard. Just once. But she didn't say much. I don't know. She's been quiet lately." I forced a laugh. "I think I waved at her once." "Cool," he said. "No big deal. Just curious." I hung up and stood in my half-empty room, staring at the single drawer I hadn't packed yet. Inside it, wrapped in an old shirt, was the bracelet. Still warm somehow. Or maybe that was just my hand shaking. I didn't know if I should throw it away. I didn't. 1 month later. Spring. I was walking past a bookstore downtown, the kind with crooked shelves and handwritten signs. I paused in front of the window without knowing why. And then I saw it. Folded behind a stack of local event flyers, taped to the glass from the inside, was a small envelope. My name was written on it. Just my first name. Sharp, confident handwriting. I stared at it for a long time. Then I went inside. The shop was empty. No one at the counter. The bell over the door still rang behind me. I walked to the window, peeled the envelope off the glass, opened it. Inside, a photo of the bracelet. And a note. "It's still yours, if you want to remember. Next Friday, 5 p.m. Same bench. No umbrella this time." I stood there holding the paper. Sunlight from the window hit my hand, and for a moment the gold from the photo seemed to glow.